So that means I know somebody that's connected to Alan. So it's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Think of that, okay? So he's second degree. We're one person away from one another. Third is obviously we're 3 steps away, so on and so forth. So in many cases, this is a great way, especially for instance on a job hunt. You can find somebody that you're connected to at a company. So just like I did before, I pulled up Raytheon. Who am I connected to that works at Raytheon? You can look at those second, third, and fourth degree connections. They may be one step away from the HR person that you need to touch base with, or the buyer who you need to get in contact with in order to potentially get a contract for a company. So again, those degrees of separation, in that case, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to talk to my first degree and say, how well do you know this person, and try to get an introduction. And again, so the person who's contracting labor or contracting landscaping, for instance. So you could target those companies who are your companies who you would love to do business with. They're those big, ripe, juicy, companies. Oh, I'd really love to work with them. And so you can, through LinkedIn, track down, in some cases, the right person to connect with in order to get a face-to-face and possibly get an introduction from somebody you already know. You'd be surprised at the people I didn't realize they work for that company, and they're the one I'm trying to get into for so long, and they're your introduction to get in the door to the person who writes the checks or makes the deals. Okay? Is that sufficient?
If you click on the 199 shared connections,
yes.
You can see who you have mutually connected with. I said that right?
Yes.
And then you can decide which of those connections would be the best one to go through.
Yeah, so a long list of second level here.
Yeah, and I'll warn you, because don't just go automatically, well, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, but usually don't go right to that second connection and say, I know so-and-so. Go to so-and-so first, because I actually did this, and I went to my first connection and asked for an introduction to somebody that was a second connection. And he came back to me and he said, we had a disagreement. You don't want me recommending you.
Well,
so, yeah,
good to know.
Okay.
Good to know beforehand. But at the same time, people also are connected. I'm connected with people on LinkedIn that I don't know them. We may have interacted online, had some question and answer, whatever that may be. They may be in a class or whatever, but I don't know them necessarily.
Well, that brings up a good point, Michael. The recommendation that's repeatedly has come is that on LinkedIn, not to connect unless I know them.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it seems like that's one way to cut down the spamming. That's one way to, protect my profile so that it maintains professionalism, etc. Can you give me your thoughts?
Again, I would say that your strategy is based on your company strategy. So what is your purpose on LinkedIn? Who are you trying to connect with, and why? So it may be that, again, my purpose on LinkedIn is to connect with anybody that has a business and is a decision maker. Now, I don't go out and randomly connect with them. They're actually coming the other way. So I approve anyone who, again, fits my target. But again, that's my purpose and my why. So it doesn't necessarily fit you. You have to decide based on your company online strategy. It may be, for instance, again, Deborah, that you want to only landscapers who are going to have common conversation, or it's only landscapers and people who manage properties that I'm going to connect with. That might be a strategy that you would go with. I would definitely narrow it down if I were in Deborah's shoes to people who are decision makers or in my industry.
I participated in a LinkedIn webinar 6 or 8 months ago, and one of the points made was never, and I violated this myself, but never to use the LinkedIn email that says I'd like to connect with you or whatever, that you tailor your connection request to a specific business need
Mhm.
and not make the general,
Mhm.
send the general email out, because you're likely, or you may get rejected.
Mhm.
And if you get a lot of rejections, LinkedIn takes notice of that.
Yep.
They start blocking you.
Yes. It's the same as on Facebook now, in that if you try to connect with people who don't know you, and you can definitely get shut down
Yeah.
and blocked by the corporation. So be selective. I think it's very valid in providing a why, or if I've talked to that first person connection and we've had a conversation, and then they may have had a conversation, then I'll go ahead and connect to them and explain that we have a common friend, Joe, and Joe said he talked to you, and I would love to connect with you about whatever. I had a finance person that I connected with, and they use LinkedIn for direct connection with businesses like I do, but he whittles it down based on anybody who would be willing to meet with him face to face. So if you would entertain meeting with me face to face, we're going to stay connected. If not, he's going to go ahead and push that aside. So he's trying to network, he's trying to get to know people, traditional networking, but using some digital tools. So again, his strategy may be working for him. He knows a lot of people. Everybody gets to use it for how it fits you. But you have to decide how it fits you and have a strategy, or it's just another big social media platform that you're on. Okay. Anything else?
Did we show the question that Barb had about
You had a...
connecting with other social
Yeah.
media sites?
Yes.
Okay. So...
Let's do that and then move to...
So it used to be that your Twitter feed would auto-populate your LinkedIn feed,
Yeah.
but they stopped that 2 weeks back, 3 weeks back.
About...
Okay. So they began to be a little more restrictive. There are ways around that. So my business Facebook does populate my LinkedIn.
Yeah, mine does too.
And so again, that's something that can be done. You can still have Twitter populate LinkedIn. You just have to have a third-party app in order to make that happen. But again, be selective, because if you are very, very relational on your Facebook page, you may not want to push that into LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is business relationship, not fuzzy personal relationship.
What about
Facebook.
LinkedIn populating to your business page on Facebook?
That can be done.
And does that need another app?
It does need a third-party app in order to accomplish that, yes.
What about spell check? What's a way that I can check things before I go, oops,
Any suggestions on that?
Couldn't hear
On
the question.
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn spell check, how do you guys go about that? Do you write it in Word and then copy it over, or WordPad?
For long things, yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend that.
Okay. That's what I would
It's
suggest.
not an automatic spell check.
No.
Like there is on...
Right.
Well, there isn't on Facebook either, is there?
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't always work.
No.
It's it'll not correct words it should, and vice
Right
versa.
after you push post.
Yeah.
You see it, so then you immediately go back and edit. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank goodness in comments they've changed the ability to edit those, especially if you're posting from a mobile device and you're send and you're like, oh, I misspelled that, or I said something stupid. Yes.
Well, don't some of the browsers do spell check?
Some do.
Firefox,
Uh-huh.
Chrome,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah, there's
way.
plugins for those browsers that'll spell check everything that you type. Okay, you guys ready to transition to Facebook page? Okay, let's transition. And again, if you guys think of something, after our classes, if you think of something, be sure to ask it in the group.
Yeah, I was also going to say, if there's something you're doing on LinkedIn and you have a question, just call us or email us and we can lead you through it a little bit.
Mhm.
And Mike didn't cover events because we don't really like the event function on LinkedIn. We usually set it up in Facebook and G+.